Yes, so we were left on the third era and its main events. So, after Kronos gets an alliance with both Neptune and Camel, they form an army, a coalition against the Pucatron. And in these events, there is a hero, a castrator, known as the Poet of the Night. This person, actually a very formidable fighter, he meets a person in his fights, a child. He raises this child in the Great War. He fights and both raises the child. The Great War lasts over 30 years between the coalition of gods and the Pucatrons over the Tree of Life. So, at the end of the 2090 year of the war, the kid who was the child was raised by the Purge of the Night became a warrior, a blessed warrior, the third Murad, who we are famously known as the dashagli ushag. So Neptune granted him a mythical creature called a raccoon, which was his companion. He was castrated as well, but after his castration, he gained a salvation, and he was blessed by the camel ball with new balls, which gave him enormous amounts of power. And with this, the war over the Tree of Life was ended, and Pucatrons were driven out from the territory. But the war did not end here. After after the war, there was silence for over 200 years. And because of the blessing, in this time, the Halusha lived at the Turf Murad. He he prospered the place, and he was looking for ways how to enter the zones of Pucatrons and how to end them. And in his research which he did with the god Neptune, he discovered that there are person who are out of the universe and who does not have any bonds to their own gods. And he meets a person from those places. But actually it was not a person, it was just another egg. A seventh god, actually. But it was not a god. He realized that it was just an essence which was come from the void. And he learned how to harness this void and contain the gas, which cleaned every gas around it. And with this power, and for 50 years, the Halushag learned how to use this power. And then another war erupted, but this time it was between Kronos and the people of the Tree of Life, because the city's name was changed so many times in this time we cannot give it a proper name for now. And the war was lost by Murad, but there was nothing happened. The third Murad lost the war, and the Tree of Life was now guarded by the people of Kronos. But this was actually a plan, because now it was waited that the Bukatrons will attack the Tree of Life, and in this time, in the meantime, the temple of Gastrodon will be destroyed by the Murad. And that's what actually happens. In the last milestone of the third era, there is a war between the coalition, which was actually destroyed, but it was again reformed against the Pucatrons, and the war started. Huria again, almost this time destroyed every places, every city of humanity. But in the meantime, the ties of Huria and Gassadon were destroyed by Murad Tashalusha. And so Huria still had the power, what was left, the god Gassadon. But because of her ties were severed with him, she swore revenge on Tashalusha. But at this time, we learned something that we said that part of the camel's power were actually was taken by um, gastrodon, and actually we actually learned that camel is diseased, and part of him is actually gastrodon and is fading away, so he's sick. He tells that the void is actually not the void; it's an interdimensional gate which he can use to escape Hudia. And with this, the third Murad escapes the universe and goes to the void with his high hopes. And with this, he completely all of his story and everything changes irreversible. Only thing that stays with him is his blessing which was left by Cam. This was end of the third era and now we are in the fourth era. And the fourth era tells us about our modern series of Dashalushak. So let's start. In this universe, the blessing still stays with the Dashalushak, but his powers, which were coming from the camel, are now resulting in a different issue. It's actually shown as a genetic mutation, but that's not the reality. In this universe, there's an Earth and normal people with no gods. And as we know from the series, Murad forms a gang with Garoch, Ricardo Millis, Olives, and other people. So, I'm going to cut short. You know the story. There are many betrayals and many stories and things like that. At the end of our story, we know that Dashang Ushag dies because he lost his immortality, because he lost his ties to Camel, he lost his aging powers too, but he was still powerful. He was trapped and killed by the Frutaphiles and the pedophiles together. And at this point, we only see his death, but we don't know what comes after it, which will tell us in the new series, which is Dashalu Shock the Blood City. So, now I'm going to briefly explain what will happen without going into any spoilers, but this will tell us about the secret affairs of Murathat during the events of Dashalu Shock and what happened of them. So, we're going to see the sons of Murad and their war against each other or their alliances against a new formidable opponent we don't know. You will see tomorrow, and I will talk about it truly, and I will demonstrate the first episode of the Shalushag City of Blood. Thank you for watching. This was actually the complete story of Muradverse. It's actually a bit complicated. I just only tried to go about the main parts of the story. I didn't go into special sagas, stories, and everything that Murads had to go through. And there are actually not only three Murads, there are five. But the other two Murads were actually very irrelevant. One of them could not bear the power of Camel, and the other one was killed by Huria as soon as he got his own powers, so he could not even learn to use them. And yes, so see you tomorrow, guys.